If a consumer is acting as an agent for the principal...
Can you please repeat that?
Of course. If a consumer is acting as an agent for the principal, they're managing or representing another party's financial interests. In this situation, the responsibility for the debt would typically lie with the principal, not the consumer personally.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. So if we're talking about a situation like that, all right, would the consumer be able to act for the principal?
Yes, a consumer can act as an agent for the principal if they have been given the authority to do so. This often involves a legal arrangement, such as power of attorney, where the principal grants the consumer the authority to make decisions and act on their behalf in financial matters. In this role, the consumer would be expected to act in the best interests of the principal, following their instructions and the legal authority granted to them.
Okay, now let me ask you this. So if that was the scenario, all right, could the consumer utilize the principal's interest to cover all debts owed to the principal?
If a consumer is legally acting as an agent for the principal and has the authority to manage the principal's financial affairs, they could potentially use the principal's assets or income, which might include interest earned on investments, to cover debts owed by the principal. However, this would depend on the specific terms of the legal authority granted to the consumer and the nature of the debts.
Okay, that's understandable. All right, now let me ask you this. All right, how soon could the consumer use the principal's interest to cover all debts owed?
The timing for a consumer acting as an agent to use the principal's interest to cover debts would depend on several factors. Legal authority. The consumer must have the legal authority to act on behalf of the principal.
Okay, so what if the consumer does have legal authority? All right, let's say a power of attorney is on file. All right, how soon can the consumer use the principal's interest to cover all debts owed?
If the consumer has a valid power of attorney and is authorized to manage the principal's finances, they could potentially use the principal's interest income to cover debts as soon as it's available and accessible. The exact timing would depend on 1. Frequency of interest payments. Interest from investments or accounts may be paid out monthly, quarterly, or annually. The agent can use the interest once it's credited to the principal's account. 2. Access to funds. The agent must ensure that any withdrawal or use of funds complies with the terms of... No problem, Mansa. How can I help?